Welcome to the first crossover episode between Talk Sox and Brewer Fanatics as we chat about the Red Sox and Brewers series. What's up, Jason and Jake? How are you guys?
What's up, folks? Happy to be here. Long time listener, first time caller.
I was just saying, I feel like a popular kid in school. We've done one podcast, and all of a sudden, people invited us on, and I didn't have any friends in school. So this is a new experience, and I'm loving it, guys.
We're coming to you a little earlier than usual, and this is our fourth live stream after the playoffs that we won't talk about.
What playoffs?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody remembers those. Nobody ever. So, what a series, huh?
That's one word for it. I mean, what a series of teams deciding, will our offense show up at all? I mean, we didn't even get the drama of an actual brawl, which really was the only reason we continued watching Tuesday and Wednesday night's games as Brewers fans, as we thought, as Gary Sanchez lined up behind the plate, William Contreras in a day off. Like the stage was set, you know? You just wanted like a Jose Quintana 82-mile-an-hour fastball to like vaguely clip Wilson Contreras' toenail and then just sparks to fly, you know? But sadly, no dice. So we just had pitiful losses, in which the slowest thrower of the whole series was somehow Aroldis Chapman. But I mean, go to baseball field, you see something new every day, right?
Yeah, you know, it's that icy cold Boston weather that I think maybe plagued everybody, and maybe that's why Wilson thought he got hurt. He got hit. Is like his hands were just cold. The wind. I don't know. I was ready to go to war.
I mean, there were a lot of X's involved in this situation, right? I mean, just like across the board, obviously the Brewers and the Red Sox had that big infielder trade in the offseason. But also you got like a Contreras brother on each side. You got a lot of like big dudes. It's cold. It's Boston in April. I don't actually know what the weather is over there right now. I assume it's colder than in Seattle where I am right now. But yeah, and then obviously it was like a competitive series. Like I don't think there were any like blowouts, depending on your definition of that word. But also like, you know, it's gonna sound very biased, obviously, but I think Milwaukee got off to a little bit of a better start to the season than Boston did, and I think that definitely played into it as well, right? Like it's still early on, there's still a lot of baseball left to play, but I mean, from what I've seen from Boston fans on social media, there is definitely like a lot of pent up, like let's get this going, and I imagine that translates to the players as well. So it's a little bit of a competitive edge there.
Yeah, I think. I've seen discourse around that maybe it was like a WBC hangover, because if you look around the league, there's a lot of guys who competed at least deep into the WBC who just are not producing the way that everybody kind of anticipated that they would. And with the Sox, you look at Roman Anthony, who his bat is okay. There's times where he looks like he's ready to carry the weight of the Red Sox, but I don't really want to talk about his potential yips in left field that seems to be an issue right now, at least under high pressure situations. But just looking around the league, Ketel Marte is not playing well. Alex Bregman is not playing well. So it looks like there might be some hangover from the WBC.
Did Caleb Durbin play in the wait,
no.
I mean, from a Brewers perspective, Angel Zerpa's been grand. Abner Uribe's doing a little bit slower than usual, so there's maybe some stuff to that. Bryce Terang is doing his thing of getting extra bases out of bloop hits. Crushed a homer and is now apparently hurt himself, so we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, you could certainly see that. I wonder even if it's not even a fatigue thing, but more of a, like the players got so juiced up for that. And I wonder if even like the start of the season now kind of feels a bit more like a spring atmosphere in some ways. Obviously, it's not spring training, but you know, when you've been certainly those sort of two finalists, Venezuela and America, you've competed in the actual knockout stages of that. And then you go back to, here's game one of 162. And if you lose today, you're still there tomorrow. Like the lack of knockout baseball really that happens means that maybe these players are a little bit less juiced up. you know?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
And perhaps that's why maybe the Brewers have adapted okay to it so far, in that I think you kind of have to be juiced around Pat Murphy. Not juiced like Jason likes to joke about with the milk stuff, but no, he's very much in on that in the win today mindset, and you wonder whether that's maybe why they've staved it off a little bit. I don't know. Maddie, what do you think?
Well, Pat Murphy makes me uncomfortable. He looks weird. Like, I'm always reminded of the Crimson Chin when I see him.
What?
Like, he's got like a giant face.
I love that.
A giant face. Wow.
Let me Google him.
I think he's just aura maxing. Like he definitely frame walks a lot of guys. Like if you look at, I've seen him bone smashing. I've seen him jaw pulling. I've seen him do all like the clavicular routine. But that's just what it takes to run Milwaukee baseball. Is you need that sort of like ethereal next level deity like presence in the clubhouse. I feel like. But,
I think Maddie's just jealous, Jason. She's never been offered a pancake from someone's pocket. You know?
That makes me uncomfortable. This dude was eating pancakes out of his pocket. I was like, we need to take a step back. We need to draw some ground rules, bro. Yeah, then he pulled up the turtle. He pulled up the turtle. I was like, that better not be the next meal, bro. Like, please. And then he's like, oh, I named it. And I was like, okay, like,
it's safe today.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's even worse. Is poor Tricia Whitaker, who took a bite of that and now, made a bit of a show of it on X, and then he goes into his pocket. Then I think it was on Saturday or Sunday night, and she must be thinking, whatever he pulls out, no innuendos, I have to take a bite of this. Because she'd already set the standard. Like if he had turned up and pulled out like some moldy cheese and was like, "This stuff's delicious," she had to. There was no getting out of that at that point. I mean, she's probably glad he pulled out a turtle, but
Yeah, I would. I can't even say anything about Alex Cora, bro. He's just a good-looking Puerto Rican dude. He just I don't know what the I think Milwaukee fans like Pat Murphy this far because he's obviously had success with the team in his relatively short tenure. He's got this like very gruff old man attitude that I think flies well in Wisconsin. When it comes to Boston, like Alex Cora, I think it's hard managing a baseball team in one of the bigger media markets because people are just like upset about something all the time. But like, is the general sentiment around Alex Cora like positive, negative, neutral, varies with the weather? Like, how does that like kind of work?
Depends on who's commenting on which piece.
Yeah. I think Alex and I like him. Yeah, we don't have any issues like major ones, but if you like check on any form of social media, you'll see a lot of Cora haters.
It's louder this year than it has been really, I think, at any point during his tenure. Mm-hmm. The argument that I'm seeing right now is that the only reason he has the 18 championship is because he inherited a team of all-stars and he can't actually manage or coach his way to a winning program. And I disagree with that. I think that Alex Cora is a very good manager. I think that he will be the manager of the Boston Red Sox as long as he wants to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox. I think he is in no jeopardy of losing his job. When you're suspended from the league and promptly brought back to the organization that you were suspended out of, I think that kind of shows that the ownership has your back. And unless something drastic happens, I don't think the ownership group in Boston is changing anytime soon, despite the chants in the stadium during the couple homestands. When John Henry was there, that was an interesting part-time. He got ridiculed to his face. He promptly signed Rafael Devers to a $300 million deal. So we'll see what happens now. But I think Cora's safe. I think that I don't know. I think it's probably a 60-40 split. You'd say that's accurate, Maddie, of people who like Cora versus people who don't. As the team hopefully starts playing better, you'll move to a 70-80 split instead. Boston fans are that I don't want to say fair weather, but they go as the team goes. And right now, Alex Cora, they want him to be the scapegoat when there's a list of people that could go before he should if something were to happen like that.
So if it's not Cora, then where have the struggles sort of come from early this year? Is it just anything can happen in baseball in a 10-game sample? Is there a couple of positions where you're like, this ain't quite right? Like, well, what are you guys sort of picking up so far?
That's a really good question. For me, it's offense. It's Pete Fatsy specifically, which he's one of Cora's best friends. So I don't think that he's going anywhere, but I think that he would be the sacrificial lamb in the event that the front office did decide to make changes. His offensive approach doesn't seem to be working, and there's signs of that throughout his tenure with the Red Sox, that maybe there's some kind of disconnect. On the pitching side, I don't think Andrew Bailey is in any kind of trouble. I don't think he's in any. I don't think his seat is even lukewarm. But obviously, our starting rotation has been the biggest letdown outside of Crochet and Sonny Gray these last 2 games. Mm-hmm. Ranger Suarez looks awful so far. Brian Bayo's getting more swing and miss than he's ever gotten in his career, but he's still getting, 1 1/3 innings and leaving at 88 pitches. Like, there's something going on with the rotation, and whether they're not stretched out because of the WBC. Is Ranger Suarez a victim of ABS?
Maybe just keep giving the Brewers all your good pitchers and deciding to keep Brian Bayo. Whole host of things.
The one that I worry about the most, and you can take the stats or whatever out of it, is Ranger, because I think he's going to get murdered by ABS, because he's a pitcher that has lived on the fringes and has relied. He's a fairly soft tosser and has relied on those, right on the paint, right on the black pitches that now, the batter's going to challenge. The way that it helps him, and if they can use it to their advantage, is we've talked about this on an episode where we kind of dove into ABS. You need to almost set up Narvaez or Wong or whoever's behind the plate to kind of dupe the batter on a pitch that set up wrong and go across the zone to catch a pitch that is on the edge. So they blow their first challenge on a strike call. And so they're going to be gun shy to use the second one. That's like, I was a catcher when I played, so that's where my mentality always goes. That is a scheme that I would cook up all the time. Is I would set up wrong, so that way you're blowing challenges on pitches that as a catcher are in the zone.
Don't you think that's kind of unethical, bro? Playing the game the wrong way.
No. Unwritten rules are dumb rules.
What? Dude, that's crazy. No, I mean it is pretty interesting, like looking at the pitching staff, because I remember Jake and I had this conversation of the offseason where it's like, the Brewers are not going to cough up more than $6 in a Snickers bar for any free agent, but if they did, who do you want? We talked about Suarez because he's been a very consistent guy, and I mean, what is it, 8 2/3? It's been 2 relatively short starts for him, and so it's a smaller sample, but it is. He has not looked very good. Bayo has not looked very good. I was honestly surprised to see Sonny Gray dealing, just because he's kind of ancient. I think he's 35, which is
wow,
on his way out. But
okay,
yeah, I mean, it would be good for you guys. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the pitching staff was. I remember seeing a lot of Boston making these additions, and I was I feel that rotation looks nice on paper.
Yeah,
on paper, right? Obviously, reality can be disappointing sometimes, but yeah, curious to see where it goes. I feel on the pitching side for the Brewers, I don't know. I mean, you guys saw Shandro on and then beat him up and then promptly sent him back down. So again, bullying, unethical. I don't know why you guys did that to the poor kid whose entire family was at Fenway. Watch his debut. This guy just gets murdered. He gives up 18 base runners. But yeah, I think there's I think the Red Sox and the Brewers, I mean, their approaches to roster construction are inherently different because one spends more money. I know people would probably want John Hurd to spend even more, but man, if you guys had Milwaukee's budget, you'd have half a team. But I mean, it's curious to see the matching up, because I do think there's still a lot of really elite talent on both squads, and it's just different kinds of talent, though, So
it's something I've been sort of thinking about a little bit, is that buying. There's a thing in the stock market. If you go and buy any trade, literally that disclaimer pops up that past performance is no indication of future, right? And when it comes to baseball, you've got you've got guys who have succeeded for whatever reason, whether it's the environment they're in. And it's so easy to forget that in professional sports, we're not talking about robots. We're talking about people with emotions and form and ups and downs. You're moving to new cities all the time. People especially to get going from the off. But that being said, you look for the sort of markers that make someone consistent. So one thing that you don't get to look for when you're paying a high value for someone is you maybe don't get to check out the personality element and think, okay, how do I make you better? But it's more, okay, you just come in and do what you've always done, which is an inherently sort of different attitude. The Brewers are very much, let's take what you've got and let's try and maximize what we can get out of you. Whereas when you're able to buy a free agent, and Trevor Story is probably a great example of this, it's probably what he should have gone for in the free market. But in terms of the value that you get back, Joey Ortiz might have more value simply because he's been on the field and defended. And that is a damning accusation right there. So, yeah. And then when you're coming to people Garrett Crochet is the complete opposite of that. Of a guy who's just come in and stud. Like, if that guy was a horse, studded. Right? So he's the complete opposite of that. And it's interesting because you almost seem to get these levels where you get star players who are in their prime, your likes of a Garrett Crochet, and then there's that level below, there's that more uncertainty, the likes of a Ranger Suarez who succeeded, slightly bigger park in San Diego. He's got the monster to deal with in that high wall because of the lack of velo. Is it easier then to pull against that wall? And some of those weaker balls, but also he's keeping balls in play more often than not on the ground and probably is going to come around because he's found ways to succeed despite the sort of weaknesses within his game. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but it's just such a dichotomy between the two organizations, as Jason said, and it's really fascinating how it actually manifests itself on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Complete ramble there, wasn't it? Gosh,
no, you're 100% correct though. I think that's what's so great about that is like it's almost like the haves and the have-nots. You know, we're in Boston this week, and it's just so interesting to see a team like the Brewers who, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not super plugged into like the Milwaukee thing, but I don't think anybody at the beginning of 25 expected that run that the Brewers went on last year. I think the Brewers will win the Central again this year. I live in Cardinals country.
Oh, whoa.
Maddie, careful.
No. I still have the Cubs pegged to win the Central.
Can we mute that microphone?
Wait, we need to talk about this. Wait, why?
Hey, maybe Maddie likes an underdog. What's your rationale here, Maddie?
Underdog? No, I like PCA.
Underdog.
I like PCA too. No, he's a dog. I like PCA.
Yeah, he's cool.
You can't hit
I like Yelich too. They were both out of Harvard Westlake. Like,
are they really? They went to
yeah, they went to the same high school.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Couldn't find two. Well,
I think the Cubs are pretty good. I'm a casual fan, so I like every team. That way I always come out on top. But I mean, I think the Cubs are definitely good. I think that the Brewers are just like an interesting team because, I mean, you brought up last year. Last year, I thought the Brewers were going to win like 40 games, especially after the way that Yankees opening series went, where they literally hit like 85 home runs.
Half the home runs of the season.
Yeah, like the cashier at 7-Eleven when they came in, you heard about these torpedo bats. And I was like, how do you know about that? Why are you asking about this, dude? We got guys talking about moment of inertia in swing pass as a result of that one series because Nestor Cortez was grooving 89-mile-an-hour fastballs down the middle. But obviously they come back, have a record, like a franchise record-setting season. Postseason, Milwaukee always does this. They always get our hopes up in the regular season. They kind of choke in the postseason. People argue that's because the roster is constructed to win over 162, not necessarily over 5 or 7. But I think the Central is going to be competitive. Like the Cubs, I honestly haven't been following that closely. I think Alex Bregman has like been kind of a question mark. And I think who else? Didn't Cade Horton just go down with an injury too?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, Brewers have never had a pitching injury ever. So I mean, that's just what I'll say.
You trade him to the Orioles before their elbow blows out. when they wind up in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we got to do. We ship off the deteriorated product before it hits our shelves. But I mean, it's still early, and I think that the NL Central, I would say, is definitely heating up. I think especially with like I'm a Pirates fan. Like they're kind of doing stuff. They're definitely winning some games. The Reds are like 8-4 randomly. Sal Stewart might be the greatest player ever of all time. You got Chase Burns,
He's fun to watch.
greatest player of all time. Yeah. So I think that the division is heating up, and I think the Brewers, man, has been so dominant in like the past decade, arguably almost at this point, in that division. And I think it's like they just manage their organization so well. And I know the Cubs are obviously like doing stuff correctly too. I don't know. I'm not even biased against the Cubs, dude. I just don't really know what they'd have to do or like what the projections are like right now and how much they'd have to exceed them by to actually like take the division from Milwaukee.
Well, I think there's more power in their lineup than whatever the Brewers have right now. I mean, Garrett Mitchell, I predicted he'd be a breakout candidate. He's doing really well, and he's gotten off to a good start, but I think that's going to regress, and he just has a lot of issues of staying healthy.
Yeah, undeniable. I mean,
I think he's a good player, though, like when he's healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get him for like 200 plate appearances.
The power thing is interesting as well, like for the Brewers, because Vaughn was one guy we were expecting having really hit the ground running last year, showing tangible improvements across the board, not just the surface, underlying metrics. The swing had changed, and Churio actually was for the first time understanding what a ball and a strike was, even in spring training, which was a nice change, and it continued through the WBC. So obviously no guarantee it held, but there's real sort of optimism, certainly when facing left-handers. So seeing those two disappear and then facing Garrett Crochet, where Ortiz is hitting fifth, was probably not a dream scenario. But there's probably more pop in there than, you would expect, but it's still probably going to be middle of the park. And then when you look at the Cubs, it basically depends which way the wind blows. Like, you're seeing balls being like 80 foot shorter than they should have actually been. Ian Happ is perennially pretty solid. Do I think Miguel Amaya is as good as this or Carson Kelly? Nope, just real hot last year. Bregman up and down. They've lost Kyle Tucker. PCA has forgotten how to hit the ball. I think there's ups and downs and there's variability on both sides. But it's undeniable the Cubs probably do have more of that pop on the upside. But I would 20% chance the Brewers end up with more homers on them by the end of the year. And that's not because the Brewers have been awesome. That's more because I wonder if the Cubs can repeat what they did last year.
Interesting.
Second half. Big difference in that Cubs offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think Bregman in the clubhouse really helps. And I've been thinking about without Bregman, the Red Sox seem lost at the plate at times. Whereas now that he's with the Cubs, I think he could really help PCA unlock some semblance of plate discipline compared to just swinging at everything. And I love Seiya Suzuki too. And I think he could hit at least 20 home runs again, if not.
I want Seiya Suzuki on the Red Sox. He has nowhere to play, but I want him on the Red Sox.
I was going to say, bro, who you swapping out for Seiya in that outfield, man?
Jarren Duran.
Feels like the type of player who you kind of hate when he plays for you, but you also hate when you're playing against him because he's that dude that just gets triples and homers out of nowhere, and you just get a bit frustrated playing against him. He's a pain in the ass, basically, but also he's really annoying when he's on your team and kind of really easy to hate at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened in 24? Like I just remembered because in 23 or whenever he did this, all I remember about Jarren Duran is the first play I ever saw him make was he staring up in center field and he's like, I don't know where the ball is, and then it drops behind him, and then I think it was Raimel Tapia hit an inside the Parker, right? And then I was like, never gonna see this Jarren Duran guy ever again. 2024 comes along, this kid posts 9 WAR. He's in the Red Sox documentary. And I'm like, I guess this guy's a real player. Obviously, last year still solid, not nearly as good. What is his future with the Sox, and when will he get replaced by Seiya Suzuki, as per Alex's timeline and wishes?
I'll let you run point on this one first, Maddie, because
Well-
my Durant opinions are unpopular.
Yeah, I mean, Alex is usually a little meaner to players, I'd say. I mean, I can go either way, but so the first thing you mentioned was the Inside the Park Grand Slam. That was the game when Sydney Sweeney threw out the first pitch, and then everything like just went downhill from there. Like, it was
Yep.
Dude, it was Cassie's fault, bro.
It was Cassie's
That's crazy.
So yeah, then yeah, he just I think he overperformed. If you look at his expected stats across the board, they were significantly higher in 2024. He I think a lot of his game is mental. So when he's doing really well, then he just is good across, like, you know, at the plate, you know, in the outfield. And then, yeah, 2025, he took a step back, and whenever he'd make an error, he just seemed everything. Then that game would fall apart. Like he'd like go down in like a 3-pitch at bat. He'd make another misplay. Then later on in the game, and just, I mean, this year, I mean, even then, like 3.9 F4 isn't that bad for an outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
But
Respectable.
and the issue with him is that a lot of like teenage girls like Jaron Duran. So then if you well, and like men too, actually, you know, most of the dudes who like clap back at like Alex for like making a fair critique of him like are like grown ass men.
For sure.
Hey, teenage girls, we just need to clarify, not like Wander Franco here, right?
Oh no!
Correct. Yeah. No.
Okay.
No. They're anything like Wander Franco. No.
No.
My girlfriend who likes baseball casually, because I'll drag her to Mariners games, she's like on Reels, and she's like watching this Jaron Duran edit in Spanish, heading into like,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
WBC.
No.
I was
That's like a
oh, God,
whole
it's gone
subgenre.
That's a good point. Like he did seem like a player that's, I don't know if you guys play poker or like League of Legends, but he's like a player that's subject to tilt, right? Where it's like, oh, if things start going south, as Maddie said, they keep going south. With Bregman gone, like who in the Boston locker room is responsible for like holding down like the line, right? Is it Trevor Story? Is it mid-pack's favorite son, Isaiah Connor Falefo? Like who like shoulders the responsibility of like maintaining team chemistry?
I think by default it's Trevor Story, just based on years in the game. From reports out of spring training and what we're starting to see a little bit at the like onset of the season here, Wilson Contreras is stepping into a bit of a leadership role. It did look like he was recruiting Marcelo Meyer to go murder the entire Brewers dugout at one point during the season or during the series. And Marcelo Meyer doesn't look shaken up by much, but he looked fairly concerned at whatever Wilson was telling him. I think it's Garrett Crochet. And I know that's very difficult for a pitcher to be like a full clubhouse leader, but he takes responsibility for every single mistake that he makes. When he has a good outing, he still, like, we'll take Tuesday. You know, it was a good outing. It was not the outing that he wanted. He obviously didn't want to give up 2 singles and a walk and then hit David Hamilton to drive in a run. And the first thing out of his mouth in his presser was, "I've got to be better." Like that's the leadership skill that I think is missing in the clubhouse. I don't think Trevor Story possesses that. And it's tough with Story, at least, who if you can take a deep dive on my Trevor Story opinions on Talk Sox. There was a whole series of exposés about it last year. It's hard to be a leader when you don't know if that guy is going to be on the field for the majority of the season. And it's been mostly freak injuries with Story. It's nothing that he has done to himself, but you just don't know if he's going to be out there. And realistically, he shouldn't be playing shortstop at this point anymore. I thought that was Cora's maybe his biggest mistake is he named Trevor Story as the shortstop early in the offseason. I really would rather see Story and Marcelo swap. Marcelo's got his own injury concerns, but he's a kid. He's a blue chip prospect. He was a top 4 overall pick. I don't know if the Red Sox have an offensive presence like Alex Bregman And I think they want to make Roman Anthony the offensive presence where he's the leader, but he's 21. Like that, they're asking so much of him right now on top of that. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of the defensive miscues that we're seeing with him, is he just feels so much pressure to be the guy in one of the biggest sports markets in the country.
And do you think, how important do you think it is then for these leaders, if you're going to look up to someone, have them as a leader, do they have to be playing well at the time for their message to be as well received? Or do you think there are some people who are, even though they're maybe not at the top of their game, still command that sort of presence? And is that just Trevor Story just isn't one of those? How important do you think that sort of is?
I think you look at Bregman last year after the quad injury.
Okay.
He was in the dugout every game. He was still there were videos of him sitting with an iPad in the clubhouse with Marcelo and Roman, going over swings, coaching, doing everything that you want that leader to be. And he's out. He's not playing at all. Which 2 seasons ago, Trevor Story, after he separated his shoulder in Anaheim, he sat with Alex Cora on the top step of the dugout pretty much every game. And that's great. Cora's a great leader. There's a comment on YouTube that says that Story would be a good coach, but not a team leader. And I agree with that. I think that Trevor Story would be an excellent, excellent coach, but I don't think that he has the personality to be a leader, whether he's on the field or not. And in terms of veteran leadership, it just doesn't exist for the Red Sox now that Alex Bregman is with the Cubs.
Are you saying that a guy like Trevor Story has El Riz?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Certified Trevor Story hater.
It's funny you talk about the the personalities, and it's one thing we maybe have some experience of with the Brewers. There's a couple of guys. Christian Yelich is not your outspoken leader. He's not that big, loud dude, but he's very much, here's how you work. Here's how it goes at the big leagues. There are standards he does, and then he demands of other people. But it's never, I'm screaming in your face. It's, look what everyone else is doing. If you're not learning, that's on you. And you would have had some louder people potentially over the years. I'd imagine William Contreras. I mean, I think it was Miz was asked, "Oh, what does he mean when he says, he's throwing the ball back at you?" He's like, "Get your shit together." Is basically what he's saying. Sorry, he's like, bleep. You have some louder presence, and then you have some quieter ones. Freddie Peralta is another one. And interestingly, you even mentioned Garrett Crochet. One of the stories when Jackson Churio was coming through was Freddie Peralta actually pulled him aside, had a few words with him, and basically was like, relax, take it easy. We're not judging you on this game and that game. Find your way and just breathe a little bit. The next day, I think Churio had hit maybe one hit over the last 8-9 games. And then next day out, 2 homers. And it just... let's go. And it's that sort of thing where you can have pitchers, you can have different personalities, but leadership doesn't change, and someone needs to be setting standards as to the non-negotiables. And sometimes it's maybe tough to see who's doing that, but you need somebody at all times. Otherwise, professional sports, you're losing that 1% of an edge that you really need at this level.
Yeah.
When was the last time there was that sort of figure in Boston? Before Bregman, even, was there ever someone who were just like, that's our guy?
Poppy.
Poppy.
Bogey.
Yeah,
Bogey.
Pedroia. Bogey.
Bogey. But that was a while ago.
I think, so my personal opinion, I think that when the Red Sox missed out on Bregman, Breslow should have immediately called the Padres and figured out a deal to bring Bogaerts back to Boston. He's in a decline. I understand that, and I'm slightly biased because Bogaerts is one of my top 5 players of all time. But Bogaerts, I think, is the voice this team needs. I think if Bogaerts was still here, the Devers drama never happens last season, and that's a whole bunch of what ifs. But I think that Bogey leaving this organization had a severe domino effect that we're still feeling today, just because Bogey left. JD Martinez, who is polarizing but is still a leader and is somebody that you can take up arms and follow, because he's going to he's going to go out there and he's going to put that shield on his chest and he's going to be that guy. All of them left around the same time. I think the Red Sox would have been smart to hire JD to be a hitting instructor like the Mets just did. I think that would solve a lot of problems.
That actually reminds me about a question Jason and I did have for you based on our one and only podcast. I believe this is our second one. We were wondering, what is the stupider trade? William Contreras for effectively Esteury Ruiz, William Contreras and UL Payams, who was pretty class for 2 years, or Chris Sale for Vaughn Grissom? Which one is more like, man, what are we doing? Like, makes you just cringe and cry from the inside. Do you think more if you're an A's fan and you're like, why do we do this? Or Red Sox?
Vaughn Grissom hated Boston. He hated everything about this organization. Now, I will say, I think the Chris Sale trade, obviously hindsight's 2020. I think it was awful looking back on it, but I feel that Chris Sale was snake bitten in Boston, and I don't think that had he stayed, he would have the success that he's having now. I don't think that he turns in a Cy Young caliber year. I maybe people think I'm crazy because I believe that, but I don't think that he was ever going to work in Boston again. And so I saw the benefit in trading him, and I stupidly thought when the trade happened that Vaughn Grissom could be the second baseman of the future. And then I saw Vaughn Grissom play baseball and quickly realized that would never happen.
Oh, man. That's so brutal. Wait, do you guys think that Chris Sale paid the same price as Steven Strasburg did, where it's like your last like really good year is like winning the World Series and then it's just over for you? I guess like Chris Sale obviously went out to win a Cy Young and like have a really good year with the Braves, but like after that 2018 season with Boston, like it was just like injury after injury, right? Like, do you think that was like a similar kind of a voodoo juju?
Sold to the devil sort of thing?
Yeah.
Mm,
Or do you think it was, are there like actual organizational aspects of the Red Sox that contributed to, you know, like you said, inhibited Chris Sale's success? Vaughn Grissom, you said, hated the organization. Like, does it start at the top? Like,
is it not? Yeah.
I don't think it's ownership. I know a lot of people, like during the second game of the series, you were hearing sell the team chants. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think Henry's a little disengaged, but he's not a bad owner, and the whole narrative that the team doesn't spend money isn't true. If you look at, I mean, we complain about this contract all the time, but I mean, Trevor Story's on a pretty expensive deal, and it's not the best one, but I mean, they spent money, and they extended Anthony pretty quickly. Same with Crochet, and I'd say it's more the Pobo, Breslow specifically. Just he doesn't seem like a really charismatic guy. Yeah, if you've ever seen that video, yeah, Jason and Jake, you probably would know that. I think I know more about American Girl dolls than you do.
Yeah.
That's how he acts. That's like, every video, I'm like, that is him, 100%.
I've also seen that on Twitter too, like this recent, like I don't know if it's a recent or just you know, I like discovered for myself, quote unquote, or whatever. But a lot of people are like pretty upset at Breslow specifically, and like I think it's easy to point to ownership and be like, oh, like spend more money. I mean, the Red Sox, I think the year-end 40 man's on $190 million right now, which like it's not the Dodgers moving mountains, but I mean that's not like a meager payroll by any means.
Yeah.
And like you said, there are big contracts on the payroll, right? So it's like with Breslow, like I just have not heard anybody say anything super positive about him, and he does kind of come off as that like weird, like highfalutin, tootin', like 5-head big brain, but kind of not really able to demonstrate it when you put pen and paper. But that's just outside looking in. So like, I mean, that doesn't surprise me that you would highlight that as like a possible issue. So I don't know what his future with the team is going to be like.
I think with Breslow, I think that he is just so tough to deal with because he is so intelligent that I mean, apparently he can only really make deals with Heim Bloom as they're sitting at their kids' little league baseball game is where the Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras deals kind of took shape. According Jim McCaffrey for The Athletic had a really good piece on that a week or two ago. but I'm not out on Breslow. I was very much a Heim Bloom guy though, and if I had I live in Cardinals country, and Heim is Pobo GM whatever of the Cardinals now, and so in my job I'm a teacher at a high school, and so all I do is like constantly trash talk the Cardinals and Heim Bloom specifically. And so if they're listening to this, they're gonna find out my real feelings. But I like Heim, and I think that Heim, with the right system in place, will be a very effective GM. And I think honestly, the Cardinals are probably that system. It's an ownership group that is pretty hands off. They're not going to spend a lot of money, but they also don't. Sorry, Cardinal fans, they don't have a fan base that expects anything, because the last 10 to 15 years has been not good for them. I don't know what the answer is. I do fear that Craig Breslow is probably out of a job at the end of this year. And
What's the lockout?
That's the one hang up is they haven't, like we talked about this on the last episode. Craig's contract, nobody knows how long it is, but all we do know is that it's coming up soon, which makes me think it's probably at the end of 27. So they might navigate through the end of 27 with him still in charge. But I honestly think Alex Cora is the next Pobo for the Red Sox. He's made no bones about it that he wants to get into the front office. He doesn't want to manage like a La Russa, like Terry Francona, like somebody like that. And so I think Cora is moving into the front office probably before 2030. And I don't know who takes over the manager title at that point. But I think that's probably the plan. And so Breslow may have a bit of a buffer because of the lockout, but without the lockout, I think Breslow's probably gone at the end of this year.
I heard you guys were meant to be like harsh over in Boston, and apparently your president of baseball operations sucks, and you're like, it's just because he's too intelligent. He's just so it's not his fault. He's just smarter than everybody else, And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I wish someone said that when I was shit at a job, They were like, you're just too good for this. You're just meant for more, And my ego would be so much better, I think.
I never said Breslow was meant for more.
Well, I think Alex and I say what a lot of the fan base thinks in a more articulate way than, like, if you go on Twitter, you'll see like.
Oh, sorry, more articulate than your fan base, Maddie.
No. Well, we have like more of a filter. We try not to be like, oh my gosh, like Craig Breslow sucks and like should like get hit by like the T. No, we're not like no.
It's like the LinkedIn version of what the LinkedIn saying on Twitter. Is pretty like the LinkedIn template.
The LinkedIn version.
Can we change the title of our live episode to "We're Too Intelligent for the Fan Base"? Something else.
How does that actually manifest? Like, if the opinion is that he's like quote unquote too intelligent, like what does that actually mean? Is he like overthinking stuff? Is he like not communicative? Like
he can't communicate.
It's also just I've been watching a lot of Paul DePodesta videos with the Rockies, and he also a very smart guy, but he just seems to have charisma. And if you like, there's there's a video circulating of Craig Breslow where he's talking about like how like the team was built, and he says like he just speaks in corporate jargon like LinkedIn. Like, oh no.
Oh.
And like
I was at a wedding the other day, and one of my friends was completely off topic. We're not in chicken wings yet, Alex.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
But this guy was going around his wedding, and I commented his best man was beside me. And this guy was going around saying hi to everybody. How's the family? How's the kids? And then he literally just got like full LinkedIn mode. He's the type of dude, is posting that sort of stuff regularly. And basically for the first 5 hours of his own wedding, it was like a LinkedIn like conglomerate. And it was fascinating. It was beautiful. We all know someone who does it as well.
Yeah.
So sorry, Maddie.
No.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Is Breslow, like, he's so intelligent that I think that he's hard to talk to. Heim Bloom's biggest flaw from everything that's come out from his time in Boston was that he felt that he had to win every trade, and that's why It's come out that the Mariners had a deal to send Luis Castillo to Boston for David Hamilton, and that was under Craig, but I think that was still like the same mentality of like, oh no, we'll figure Hammy out. It'll be okay. Like he's going to be the producer. We have XYZ in the farm system that can be Luis Castillo, and then it hasn't come through yet. And so I think with Craig, I like you just look at the Joe Ryan trade that never happened from last year. If you asked people in the Red Sox circle, it was so close. They were almost there. They just ran out of time. And if you ask people in the Twins circle, there was never a deal close at all. So that's probably both sides posturing a little bit. But I think that Craig Breslow has guys that he can deal with. Cardinals, Brewers, White Sox. That seems to be his safe haven of people he can trade with and make deals with.
You need to keep him away from Matt Arnold. I'm sorry. Someone needs to like change Matt Arnold's phone number to like mom or something. He never calls him mother. I don't know. Someone needs to do something about that because unfortunately Matt Arnold appears to be winning so far.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, would you guys agree? Like, do you think Matt Arnold's come out better of sort of both the trades that have gone through in terms of your Priester for, was it John Holibets and your Ferry Rodriguez? And then now obviously you've got Durbin, Siegler, and Monasterio for Harrison, Drowan, and Hamilton. Like, it seems lopsided from our point of view, but what's the sort of perspective in Sox camp on those?
Right now, everybody hates Caleb Durbin.
He's gonna be so good for you guys.
I'm not out on it.
In a month's time, that dude is made for the monster. Honestly, he's a warning track fly ball machine to left in any normal ballpark, so he's perfect for you guys. And what about the rest of it?
Well, Alex, you talked about this on our last episode, how there's a certain pitcher archetype that only succeeds in the Red Sox organization, which is good if you're that type of pitcher, but I've thought about this after, and I think that's kind of limiting for the type of pitchers you acquire, because then you're gonna have the same type of dude. It's like I had with like a dominant fastball and then another pitch to play off of that, which is like fine for some guys, but I mean Kyle Harrison, Quinn Priester, ground ball guys who just put the ball in play. Then you have a good defense behind him who can get those outs. And the Red Sox, I mean, that Brian Bayo is supposed to be that guy, but I mean, his cutter looked really good the other day, so maybe we'll see him develop into that. But
that was something Kyle Harrison actually said. Actually, when Key came over, was that the Sox have like a template that they try and fit you into. They're like, right, you're going to throw a cutter, you're going to throw this, you're going to throw that, and that's how you're going to play. When he came to the Brewers, who are notorious for loving a cutter on their own, don't get me wrong, but they came in, they were like, let's ditch that. What are you comfortable with? How do you like things going? And they let him sort of guide his own path a little bit more rather than putting him in a box as to this is what a pitcher is. They were like, you're you, man. Let's just see if we can give you the tools to be, the best version of yourself. We'll help you where we can. We'll talk together, but it's a collaboration thing. It's not a, dictatorship as to here's how you're moving forward. I think Quinn Priester said the same thing. So it sounds like that is you're absolutely spot on. And there's a couple of guys that said exactly that, Maddie.
Mm-hmm. And like the Brewers, like they just unlock a player's full potential, and I think that's because of specialized training for their profile, whether they're a contact hitter. I mean, I said they really don't have power hitters, but so I'm gonna end that. I mean, Andrew Vaughn unlock his power.
Yeah,
I think he was just happy to get off the White Sox.
Well,
yeah. I think part of it is what we're saying is I think the Brewers are so good at allowing players to kind of be themselves, as corny as it sounds. And I think aside from like taking the mental pressure off of like trying to fit into a box that you don't, it also is like you're inherently gonna be better at the stuff that you're already good at, right? Like playing to your strengths type of situation. Like if you're forcing a non-power pitcher to like be really fastball dominant and he's throwing like 94 and it's just getting crushed, like what's the point of like smashing your head into the wall expecting something to change. And I think it's why a lot of Brewers players really interesting. We're kind of seeing this at Durbin now. Hopefully it turns around. But guys that wouldn't necessarily work in other systems because they don't fit some sort of prototypical profile come over to Milwaukee, do something a little funkadelic, and then it works out. Like Grant Anderson's another guy who was in Texas, struggling really hard. And they lowered his arm slot a little bit, changed his breaking ball offering. Bryce Wilson back in the day was unplayable, and they brought him over, and this guy was doing a 2.3 ERA over long relief. And I think it's a lot of just come over to Milwaukee, burn some incense, and sit you down. Who do you want to be? What do you want to be? Let's just kind of talk this out. And with Andrew Vaughn, I don't actually know exactly what changed, but I do know there were some mechanical differences in his swing when he came to Milwaukee, and we obviously saw the results of that. When he first came over, Jake and I were like, "Oh, this is going to end sometime soon," right? And it just didn't. Obviously, he's injured now, but I think that I wonder if that's an aspect of baseball roster construction and player development that's going to take hold more on a more widespread basis over the next 10, 20 years. Is this more progressive idea of there's no point trying to force a certain style onto a player if it's just not going to work for their body. What if we just kind of play to what they have? And I think that's what makes the Brewers successful, but also an interesting team, because you're getting a different basket of weird guys. Last year was the short king spring. Everybody was small and 6 foot. Isaac Collins, Caleb Durbin, all these short dudes. I don't know what the theme is for this year, but we'll hopefully find out soon. But I think
former Red Sox players.
Yeah, right. The Red Sox B team that's now transcending. But I think with the Red Sox, they're an older organization, right? Again, they're in a bigger media market. They're kind of I wonder if they're holding on to stuff a little bit longer. I think the Brewers have always been more gung ho about trying new stuff and just seeing if it sticks.
Yeah, it's almost where the Red Sox are very, very big in analytics as well. Something the Brewers have been sort of touted with, maybe not quite to the extent of the Rays, but there almost becomes a point of analytics when people stop looking at the human side of things, and it's eventually you kind of have to merge the two in some way, shape, or form to get the best out of people. And it seems the Brewers are maybe on the front edge of that frontier at the moment, but it's not a particularly difficult thing to change. It's just being aware that yes, some nerd with 12 pairs of glasses on is telling you one thing, but at least listen to the player and pretend you care about what he says before telling him, no, we're not doing that. At least then he feels a little bit heard.
I do think that the Red Sox are still stuck in Moneyball a little bit. And I think that it's not a recipe for success. It's been proven that it's not a recipe for success. When you have a team of all-stars like the Red Sox had in 2018, you can get over that. But as guys left, guys were traded away, guys retired, whatever, you're putting a team together based on what the algorithms are telling you should work versus what you see on the field. And what, if you're a baseball executive, you should be able to look at your team and see, okay, no, he's not playing to the best of his ability. Let's have that conversation. Let's find out, why isn't Kyle Harrison or Quinn Priester, why aren't they throwing this cutter the way that we think they should throw it? Oh, they don't have the grip on it. They don't have, whatever. Have those conversations and let those players be heard. And maybe you disagree, and that if that's the case, then yeah. If this is the organizational mindset and you're not going to subscribe to it, sure, send them somewhere else, turn them into the best whatever you can, be it Caleb Durbin, Vaughn Grissom, or whatever. But I think that there needs to be a give and take, and I do think that the Sox are still stuck in that algorithmic Moneyball era that you still have other teams that are doing it too, but I think they're all kind of in that same boat. That, like you said, the Brewers are on kind of a cutting edge of maybe a new management style, a new coaching style, a new front office style that when Alex Cora gets to the GM spot or the POBO, whatever the title is, I think that will be more his MO as a former player that was able to, he stuck around the MLB for so long. Alex Cora wasn't a superstar by any means, but he stuck around because he was good at what he did. And Breslow was a fine reliever. He won a championship with the Red Sox. He was a fine reliever, but I think he would be a great pitching coordinator. I don't think that he's a great whole squad, whole organization leader.
Yeah, that's well put. That makes sense.
Well, the Brewers front office too, they seem to invest in really good people. And I'm looking at their front office directory. You have 10 analysts in your research and development department. That's insane. Like that's like one of the largest I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know they don't spend a lot of money on players, but they do spend a lot of money. I mean, this is like what the Rays and the Guardians do, right? Where it's like they'll dump money in the front office and like the people that are like working at a computer that might not be playing on the field, but to them that's like a better use of money because like, you know, an extra $30 million is going to get you like and really shiny free agent versus like a whole squad of like very smart sports staff people that can make a $3 million player play like a $30 million player, right? So I think that's like I'm really curious to see how things will change because you're right. Like Moneyball, when it first came around, everybody was like, "Whoa, dude! Like we can look at other numbers. Like that's sick. Like that's really cool." And then now it's like gotten to this extreme where like Jake's up at 2:30 in the morning Irish time, looking at like some guy's stance in the box, distance to and from the plate, and then like attack angle and all this other stuff. Like we got all the numbers now. Cool. How do you coalesce that into like an actual takeaway into the organization and like? Do we know what does this actually tell us, right? Like we have all this data, we have to compile it into like an actual answer, and like what Moneyball 2.0 or 3.0 is actually going to look like when it comes to the world of baseball analytics and how it leads to like differences in roster construction theories.
And like there's a couple of guys. I think it's your TJ Stats guy and Jeremy Machino, pitch profiler. So Machino was saying the other day that in the Twins organization, they don't always share with the players some of the data and analytics that they have. So the players and even some front office guys subscribe to his stuff because they think it's better than even what they've got internally. The Colorado Rockies don't actually know what Stuff Plus is yet. They're still living 30 years ago. Actually, they actually have an organizational subscription to him or something because every other front office has their own internal metrics, which should be far ahead because it's the entire front. Like you're hiring the best of the best. A whole community of people basically coming together to create these metrics. The Rockies are like, oh, what's this stuff again? What's it? This vertical break?
I mean,
they've got an interview request in with Billy Beane
at that point. Like, just throw the ball and just pray, dog. Like, I feel like like it's. I don't know.
Oh.
Well, the Rockies. Dick Monfort has advocated for front office cap for employees.
Dude, that's so dog. Look,
as in like
dog prices.
Like limiting the number of
cap, bro.
Yeah, limiting the number of front office employees a team can hire because the Dodgers have like, in addition to having an unlimited payroll, they have like one of the largest front offices in the sport.
Dude, the Dodgers are so five-head, bro. Like, I'm not even a Dodgers fan. I mean, I am a Dodgers fan. I'm a fan of everybody, but they're like the only team that like does they're like the Rays. If the Rays had buku bucks and like a $2.4 billion broadcasting deal, right? It's like we got to take away some of these Infinity Stones off this gauntlet because it's looking pretty unbeatable. And I mean, the Brewers know that. Like, again, last year, insane year for Milwaukee, and then you go to play Los Angeles in the playoffs, and it's like Vanderbilt baseball versus Little League Team 4C out of like Saugus, right? It's like, what happened here? It wasn't even close. I'm in New York City. I turn my phone on. This kid, Shohei Ohtani's punching out 18 guys, hitting 4 bombs. Like, who allowed that to happen? And then obviously they still have one of the best farm systems in baseball as well. So I think I really enjoy, despite the fact that they have all this money, they're still managing it like pretty intelligently, and they're like very aggressive with the pearls and things like that. And there's like math and finance behind that too. I just think if you don't have the ability to charge people $18 for a hot dog and $85 for parking and like $70 cajillion for a streaming package, how close you can really get in terms of recreating that success. But yeah, like I think people are starting to actually realize like the kids in the back with like Tableau and Excel are like starting to have more of an impact on success in the field than people might have thought 20 years ago.
In Milwaukee, we actually give parking spaces. Mark Attanasio was partial to sand. So occasionally people can just pay with that. There was a story where I think someone had taken sand off a beach or something and been prosecuted. But it's confident the one who used nepotism, hired his son, and then wonders why his front office isn't actually working because the guy has no clue what they're doing.
Good nepo baby.
Yeah. Yeah, you maybe need to look a little bit take the log out of your own eye, Dick, before you take the back of someone else's. The old parable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even there was a big kerfuffle during the off season because in the minor leagues they were trying to standardize everybody's sort of analytics and the software they were using to make it. Now, part of that might be to try and bring like Statcast data just across the board, everybody's the same stuff. But what it actually did was it probably penalized the systems that are a little bit ahead of the curve, and then basically gave a leg up to the likes of the Rockies and the Cubs and all those plebby organizations.
The Yankees.
Those just guys, needed a bit of a hand up. So it's something that might come in at some point, even though it's really stupid to penalize someone for just being smart. Apparently, in that case, Craig Breslow might only be allowed to spend like 3 hours a day working for the Red Sox because he's just that smart. But as you can tell, my brain is beginning to go with sleep deprivation right now.
I was about to say, we've kept you up.
Oh, apologies. I'll just mute myself for the rest of this.
Well, good conversation. Mostly Red Sox focus. I feel like the Red Sox are just a more like diced out team right now. I think the Brewers are going to keep chugging, and then we'll see like in a month whether there's actual like. I think things are just going swimmingly. One might say. Obviously, with the Red Sox, the expectations are always pretty high, but I think they only play one series a year, right? Because it's AL/NL, so it's done.
Yeah,
we're never going to see you guys ever again until next year, if there's no labor stoppage. Tomorrow. Good. What?
Yeah.
Well,
we don't want Wilson Contreras to come murder your entire team.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny because I feel like I saw that and I was like, wow, things are getting heated pretty early, and then like the Angels and the Braves actually like were going to hurt each other. Like, I was like, okay.
I mean, what's his name? Ronaldo Lopez hit a guy with a baseball in his fist. Like that's assault.
Too smart, bro. We should have been doing that since day one, bro. No one knew about that. Oh man.
I was borderline hoping for Wilson Contreras to try and start a fight with someone like Sal Frelick, who is a midget, but also a really,
bro, he's 5'9", bro. Sal Frelick is huge, dude. 5'9".
Sorry, Jason. He's normal size. He's average height. That's my bad. Sal Frelick's type of dude would definitely kick you between the legs multiple times and then gouge your eyes out and be like, yeah, boy.
It works more than hard. That's
local Boston kid.
Exactly.
True.
He's Italian.
He is Italian.
Well, he looks Italian.
You know what Italian
actually
American Italians over here about like, come on, you broke my pasta.
Hey.
What's going?
All bark, no bite. Yeah, no, you're not wrong there.
Just like a whiny voice here.
But I mean, they never had a potato famine though.
That is true. Just imagine if we had like twice as many Irish people around, we'd be infinitely more annoying. Dude, our entire diet is like potatoes, and yet we have like the second highest number of people with like celiac gluten intolerance in the world. And I didn't even know what pasta was until like 20 years ago. What are you even talking about? How do we build an allergy to this stuff? It's but still can't beat a good roasty on a Sunday.
You can't go wrong with that.
Well, guys, thank you so much for hopping on with us. This has been a blast. I know we don't have another Sox Brewers series coming up, but we'll have to do this again sometime this season. This was a good time.
World Series, baby. Let's do it.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes. Positive thinking.
Yeah.
Easy.
Way more
I think it's going to be the Cubs, so we'll see. But
Maddie and Jason can scrap.
Dude, I like I'm a Cubs fan, bro. I'm a big Shota Imanaga guy, bro. So
Oh yeah,
don't
he's
even-
so cool. Yeah.
yeah, bro. He's swag. But when he started singing at his press conference when he signed, I was like, this dude is dick.
I'm sorry, guys. To all Brewers fans, I've never been more embarrassed of my co-host.
What? Dude, I'm peace, love, and harmony, man. What can I say, dude? I'm just I'm with it all. I love everybody equally.
Except the
Yeah.
Yankees. No love for the Yankees.
Yeah.
Dude,
No.
I actually, man, I like the Yankees, dog. They're cool. I'm a big
See?
Matsui guy.
That's
Uh,
okay.
uh,
Okay.
A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody.
No,
Yes, Maddie.
bro. No. Look, I'm just baseball's a non-contact sport. The other sport I watch is boxing. I get enough of like the strife and the beef
Mm-hmm.
from that sport. That's why everybody in the field love each other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think the Yankees are a great organization, and I like their uniforms. And yeah, that's about all I can say about them.
What a way to end this live stream, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
I like how he appealed to all fan bases. Just so you know, guys, all Brewers fans, I love the Cubs, and to all Sox fans, Yankees are my peeps.
Dude,
you know,
I'm a
you're like,
chameleon, bro. I do whatever is necessary. I'm a utility player, bro. I'm like Dylan Moore that 1 year. Play all night. Play all night. Oh, Williams.
You're Craig Counsell.
Yeah. Exactly.
On that note, oh
Yeah, on that note, we're going to call it. Thank you guys so much again. We'll have to do this again soon. See ya.
Peace out, everybody.